Welcome and happy Thanksgiving. If you observe that holiday, happy Thanksgiving to you. This is a live show. Yes, it is. I am KG Kris Gardner of the Houston Roundball Review. Welcome to the Houston Roundball Review Takeover of the Lunch Break, powered by JM&E. The takeover is also available via the BS3 Network on Roku. If you have Roku, download BS3. Get the app, download it. If you don't, you can go to bs3network.com or bs3tvlive.com. And you can see other shows, great shows like this one, like The Takeover. Yes, I am tooting my own horn. Well, there's a lot that I'd like to get into for discussion, and you can hit me up on Facebook, YouTube, Roku, and share your comments with me. If you want to share some thoughts about Thanksgiving, your favorite dish, whatever, if you can cook and throw down like that, let me know. But majority of today's show is going to be about the Players Era event, the Players Era Festival, the Players Era Championship, the Players Era, whatever you want to call it. It's going on right now. Heck, I didn't even know if there was a fourth day of the event until yesterday. I thought it was simply on the men's side, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, and that was it. But there are two consolation games taking place today, Thursday in Las Vegas. Didn't know that. One of the problems when you have 18 teams, not a multiple of 4 in an event, as well as 4 women's teams competing for their championship as well. And that's the title game on the women's side will feature Texas and South Carolina, 7 o'clock Central Time tonight on True TV. Texas beat UCLA and SC took care of Duke in the semifinals Wednesday. But before I get into the Players Era Festival, and really going to get into it, got details, info, articles, some good, some bad. You share your thoughts on it. Let me know what you think about it. I want to go back to last Friday, when the Cougs men's basketball team got some good news in that got another top 40-ish player joining them and committed to the program and then signed with them, Ikenna Alozie. I want to give him some flowers, his recognition. Of course, he did this on Friday, was his announcement. He announced it on CBS Sports. Part of that branding, he wants, like the young people do now, they want to have their moment in the sun and share their announcement with the world, with their TV audience, social media, whatever. And Ikenna did that, had an agreement with CBS Sports to make his announcement. I had known for a while that he was committed to the Cougs. He had his official visit, and that cemented his choice to pick the Cougs. But until he made the decision publicly and announced it, until it was official and he signed his name on the dotted line, anything is possible. But all signs pointed to Ikenna being a Coug, and last Friday he made it official. So you see the image that UH Athletics posted on social media, on Instagram, as well as in the press release. Great story, great young man. Depending on the rankings you want to look into, he's 35th, 40th, 42 in the country. One of the top point guards in the country. He is a Jamal Shead kind of player, defense, 6'2", strong, solidly built. But let's get into some of the information in the press release that the Cougs put out about Ikenna. As it disappears on me, which is weird. Point guard Ikenna Alozie became the newest member of the Houston Cougars men's basketball program after signing a financial aid agreement, head coach Kelvin Sampson announced on Friday. Alozie will compete as a freshman beginning with the 2026-27 season and have 4 years of eligibility remaining. He was recruited by Kansas, Alabama, Arizona, Louisville, Washington, and Gonzaga. So he was recruited by a lot of the top programs. He was ranked among the nation's top 10 point guards by all recruiting organizations and among the country's top 45 players overall, with a number 27 ranking in the ESPN 100. Quote from Coach Sampson, "We're excited about Ikenna. He is a highly explosive athlete is strong and well built. He is made in the mold of Jamal Shed. He has elite athleticism and great power when he gets to the rim. He is a really good on-ball defender and can change the game defensively with steals, deflection, and runouts. He continues to improve on his shooting. Over time, we can develop him into a high-level player. From his Dream City Christian coach, Kyle Weaver, toughness and a hard worker are the first things I think about with Ikenna. In today's modern basketball, he has an old school player's mentality. He is going to outwork whoever he is going against. He fits the DNA and culture that Coach Sampson has built. Like that already. Weaver continued. Off the court, Ikenna is amazing and no nonsense. He handles his business and is a professional in all that he does. He has been loyal to us and trusted us the entire time. All his teammates love him, and I don't know anyone who could say a bad word about him. He is a phenomenal student athlete and an A-plus kid, end quote. A native of Nigeria, Alozie moved to the United States and began playing in the Northeast in 2021. He first suited up for the Patrick School and stood out for the New York Wrens on the Nike EYBL circuit that summer. So salute to Ikenna Alozie for joining the Cougs. Touched on a little bit. Going to get into this, and then we're going to get into the Players Era Festival overall, as well as the partnership with the Big Ten. So let me do this, as I forgot to do one thing already, but it's my show. I'm going to roll with it. The H-Town non-conference hoop schedules for the month of November. Toward the end there, you all know it. Cougs have been in Vegas this week. They eked out a 4-point win in overtime over Syracuse on Monday, lost by 3 to Tennessee on Tuesday, and then defeated Notre Dame by 10, 66-56 on Wednesday. And let me stop right there and play some comments from head coach Kelvin Sampson after the win against Notre Dame on Wednesday. And Coach Sampson is a no-nonsense guy, and he has had an honest assessment of where the team is right now in November. And you all know if you follow the program long enough, his objective is to be better month to month and be the team playing its best basketball at the end of the season, not in November. So to that end, Coach Sampson has said a few things to keep in mind regarding where the team is right now. Take a listen.
I think the thing that we're missing is just game-to-game consistency from whoever. Like Kingston was great one night. On that same night, against Auburn, we didn't play great against Auburn. We had two guys play good, Cenac and Flemings. Emmanuel and Milos, and those guys weren't very good in that game. Yesterday, we had a team shoot 17 free throws second half. We shot 2, but we're down 1 with a minute and something to go, or 2 minutes to go. I don't think we played very good at all, especially defensively. So it's there, the consistency though. Can we get Milos and JoJo and Emmanuel, Kingston? Can we get multiple guys playing good on the same night? That's where we were this time last year. We weren't very good this time last year. When I left here last year, I go, whew, got a long way to go. And I'm saying pretty much the same thing this year. But the thing that happened, we started getting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 guys all start playing good at the same time, and now you're not the same team anymore. Like, people are judging us right now, see us fragmented. But there's some teams, and we've played them. There's some teams that play their best basketball in November. I'd rather play my worst basketball in November. Just stay with it. Sometimes you just got to keep showing up every day. We're doing the right things. This program hasn't, the face has changed, but the things that we do is, where did we go? I mean, I don't even say out loud what we were for the field the second half. Now, I know some of that's 3 games, 3 days, legs, overuse, usage rate and all that. But, of the 3 teams, we held 2 of them, low shooting percentage. Tennessee was plus 20 on the boards coming into yesterday. We out-rebounded them by 8, I think. So we're good here, and we're good here, and we're good here, but there's nothing that connects us yet. But it will eventually, and we're going to be a good team eventually.
There you go. Head coach Kelvin Sampson says his team will be good eventually. He believes that. I believe it. I think most of the UH fans believe it and understand the process, understand how Coach Sampson builds his team. Team is 7-1. He also said during that post-game press conference, he knows the team isn't playing great basketball right now. It's all right. They're 7-1. They won't be ranked 3rd in the poll next week. Ooh. Oh, no. Oh, gosh, no. Ooh. Michigan looks like a world beater. They're playing great. Arizona looks like the best team in the Big 12. Good for them. Kansas went 3-0 in Vegas without Darren Peterson. Surprised me. Good for that team to step up without their best NBA prospect. And we'll see when he decides to play in basketball games, Mr. Peterson and his people, and how injured he really is. But I'm not going to get into all that. He's taking his time to get himself right. Okay. All right. Mr. Big Text Code, thank you as well. Happy Thanksgiving to you also. Putting this out there to doing this live show because next week, once I go back to school, the shows will be recorded again. So won't be doing live shows until the winter break in roughly, 3 weeks? So a live show today before I go eat with my sister and then my best friend's mom and family. So my sister, stepmom, and then other family, second family, third family, and then come back and watch Texas and South Carolina this evening. Sure you can, sir. You can ask a question about the Rockets. Great win by the Rockets last night. I went to sleep at halftime. Saw they woke up this morning that Reed Shepard scored 31 points last night. Did his thing. Not sure what he did in the second half and how he got those points. If there was more on his own or more from Amen Thompson as the facilitator and Reed just scoring off curls and doing his thing. He's a better scorer than he is a point guard. I said that last season. Still believe that. But by all means, make it quick because I want to get into the Players Era Festival for sure. But most definitely ask your question about the Rockets. Let's see. I'm touching on it right now. I've already kind of touched on it there. He's playing well as a scorer. Reed is not a point guard. He's a scoring guard, undersized guard, and his one-on-one defense is still not great. It's getting passable, but he's a better offensive player than defensive player. And that might be what he is for his entire NBA career. The NBA is full of players like that. So there's no shame in that. But if you haven't, by all means, go check out the comments from Steve Kerr, Warriors head coach Steve Kerr, and what he said about Reed Shepard and Reed's performance to lead the Rockets to the win last night. Coach Kerr was he was effusive in his praise of Reed Shepard and Reed's performance to lead the Rockets to that 104-100 victory. And I'll go ahead and say this now. How many folks are watching Takeover, and especially not many Rocket fans are watching Takeover right now, and not many fans of the Let's Talk Houston Rockets shows. There might not be any more of those shows. Won't be for a while. I say that honestly. No sponsors for that show. The money coming from that show, generated from that show, is minuscule. Wasn't a point in doing it. Especially considering I'm working full time now. No time to do that show. That's just fact. A lot of folks watch that show. Not many folks support the show financially. That's reality. That's the bottom line. Dollars and cents. So that's where I am. This show right here, Takeover. This show is supported by AJ Jones. This show still needs an advertiser. This show needs a sponsor. Without AJ's support, this show may not be around much longer in 26. Same for folks talking sports. The only show that has a sponsor is Let's Rage Coogs. This is business. I'm a business person. That's just reality. Some folks may not like that. Well, your choice. You can go somewhere else. We're going to do Let's Rage Coogs as long as you have a sponsor. You have 2 sponsors. Looking for more. Always looking for more sponsors for all these shows, all these platforms. But back to the Players Era event in the Big 12. I want to get into this because it was announced and some more details came out for regarding. And Mr. Big Tex, I want to get your thoughts on this too. Let's go backwards. Let me go backwards because we know the Big 12 and the Players Era announced their agreement on Monday. But I want to go about the Players Era itself first, and then get to the press conference. Thank you for the kind words. Because I learned a few things yesterday from Sportico, writer, and then someone from the AP had a different take on the Players Era event. So there's some good and bad. It's year 2 of the event. There is plenty of room for improvement in the Players Era event, but it looks like it's here to stay for a while, at least 5 or 6 years. Let's say that. Let's be honest with that. But the 2026, and the title of it from Matt Norlander, colleague with CBS Sports, Big Tournament, Bigger Money, How the Players Era event is changing college basketball in just its 2nd year. The 2026 Players Era Men's Championship will be a 32-team men's event that will combine World Cup-style pool play, 8 teams in 4 pods, before feeding into bracket competition across a near 3-week span every November. Should it go off as scheduled, the Players Era Festival will be by far the biggest regular season event in the sport's history, with participation/prize money purportedly upward of $30 million for schools and players. Coach Kelvin Sampson, straight shooter, quote, "We had no choice. Have you seen our budget? Have you seen our fundraising? We had no choice. We have to raise our money. In recruiting right now, the schools with the most money get the best players, especially in the portal. You've got to have money. We don't have the same money as these other schools have. We're going to do this every year if possible, if it's available. We're never not going to. The games are important. If you win, that's great. What's important is the money," end quote. Head coach Kelvin Sampson. Telling like it is from a Houston athletics perspective. That's real talk. Iowa State has a long-term deal as well, in addition to the likes of Kansas and Baylor. So that's 4 Big 12 teams. Big 12 has announced a deal with Players Era for a total of 8 teams being a part, 8 Big 12 teams being a part of the Players Era event annually going forward. This is the future of college basketball. Is that a good thing? And if you don't adapt, you'll get left behind, one Big 12 administrator told CBS Sports. It's an opportunity to play high-quality opponents at a destination where your fans want to visit, while also creating NIL opportunities for your student athletes. Compare that with other MTEs, which are a drain on your resources and often not as appealing to fans. And Players Era was an easy decision. Let me pause right there and get back to the slides. There's a lot of slide on this one. A lot. Based on the attendance Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday in Vegas at the 2 locations, is it a destination for fans right now? Majority of the games were not well attended. What needs to be done to get more people to want to come to Vegas for Thanksgiving week to see the Players Era games? I think, and I saw a writer in The Athletic this morning touched on one idea: needs to get more family packages, do more things to have students involved to come to the games, because the games are not. They're hard. I don't think the bands were there. Very few students were there from the universities participating in the event. The atmosphere is kind of blah, just dry. Got to do more to get the students involved, the college students involved. I think the majority of universities on the semester system are on break right now. So if you make it available for them to go, I think they'll go. They might have 4 to a room, but they'll go. So that needs to be addressed. But back to the slides. The contracts came with caveats. Michigan is in Players Era instead of FAU because the contract was tied to head coach Dusty May, not the school, which is not how these MTEs typically work. It's also why former Texas A&M coach Buzz Williams will coach his new team, Maryland, in Las Vegas this week, while the Aggies wait 1 more year to join the party. Michigan head coach Dusty May said, there's a caveat, quote, there's a caveat, if we get offered more from another event, they have to match us or let us out, end quote. Great agent, great agent, smart, wise representation. The biggest schools are getting better deals than a lot of the teams in the event. Hello, hello, hello. Because of that, it's also halted some other programs from joining the fold. For example, Missouri and Ohio State were previously in talks to play in 26, but are no longer expected to be involved. Quote from Seth Berger, CEO of the event: not every team on the men's side will have the same deal next year. For some of the teams, the new teams that have signed up, transparently, we have a bunch of teams that want to now come in for free. Really? Come on now, Seth. Because they want the competition. They want to be part of this event. End quote. For free? Okay. Every time I read that, I'm like, yeah, whatever. Kentucky, for example, will need to be paid close to $5 million for just 3 games alone to make up for the revenue it would lose by not having those 3 games at home. Wildcats head coach Mark Pope told CBS Sports. Players Era cannot commit or won't commit that much money to one school. Now, here's the info that I found interesting. This is from Mark Anderson from the AP sports writer. Stopping short of saying every participating college basketball team in the Players Era Championship will receive at least $1 million in name, image, and likeness money, tournament co-founder Seth Berger said Tuesday the average compensation will be greater than that figure. Sportico reported earlier in the day that not every school will receive $1 million. Quote from Seth Berger. What I can tell you is that actually, on average, each team is getting over $1 million in guaranteed NIL compensation, end quote. ESPN reported Wednesday that Berger was reconsidering next year's format after much criticism regarding how the Wednesday and Thursday matchups were announced. Teams advanced to the championship and third place games based on point differential. And given the 11 p.m. Central Time start of the final game Tuesday night, that meant coaches did not know their opponents until late in the evening. In a statement to the Associated Press, Berger said that other than the 4 team groupings, quote, we have not finalized the format yet, end quote. Got to figure this out. It's going to be a little bit easier next year because of 32 teams. And I kind of, another part of the got to figure this out right here. Big money, but way too many games, in my opinion, for the young men. But Mr. Big Texco, wait, wait for this. I think you're gonna go, when I read this article from Sportico. Check this out. Well, yeah, this info regarding Kansas men's basketball didn't get to Sportico. The Kansas Jayhawks earned not only the third place finish, surprised me going 3-0, but a hefty cash prize. Kansas was awarded $300,000 in addition to the $1 million in NIL compensation. Tennessee, who KU beat in the third place game, earned $200,000 for finishing fourth. The biggest winner is Michigan, who won the tournament late Wednesday night by like 40 over Gonzaga. The Wolverines earned $1 million in NIL compensation, while Gonzaga earned $500,000 for finishing second. Okay. Quote, with the NIL opportunities, the kids actually have to perform activations, marketing services, social media postings. And so we make sure that each kid, each athlete is meeting fair market value for that, Seth Berger told media in Las Vegas. And again, it's in excess of $1 million on average per team, end quote. Daniel Libit says from Sportico, not so fast. No players era is not guaranteeing teams $1 million in NIL money this year. This is from Sportico's Daniel Libit. In its debut year, Players Era made a splash by guaranteeing $1 million in NIL money to each of its participating teams. This year, the financial ground has shifted, and Players Era has subtly massaged its messaging around its promised payouts for the current event, saying it, quote, will feature over $20 million in guaranteed sponsor NIL activities, end quote, for the teams participating in both its men's and women's tourneys. Yet the old marketing stuck, and the $1 million per team meme continues to reverberate, echoed uncritically in recent media reports from ESPN, The Athletic, and Sports Illustrated, among others. So Daniel's taking pot shots at the big boys and people like me. Okay. In reality, some teams are likely to emerge from this week's MTE with far less than 7 figures in NIL money. And their commitments behind some deals appear far more extensive than what has been made public. Consider the agreements that UNLV and the Friends of UNLV NIL Collective, previously run by Blueprint Sports, bad people, signed in June, which Sportico obtained through a public records request. UNLV is no longer with Blueprint Sports because of what some of the things Blueprint Sports has been accused of doing. Not good. Under the deal, Players Era committed to providing $800,000 in NIL compensation to the collective, not $1 million. The remaining $200,000 comes in a separate, quote, event participation agreement, end quote, paid directly to the university, which a school spokesperson said will be used to cover the program's buyout for the Maui Invitational. Although Blueprint was the signatory of the deal, UNLV said it is no longer using the troubled NIL consulting firm for any Players Era related activity. Though the university insists the documents it provided to Sportico represent the most updated agreements, a Players Era spokesperson contends that more recent revisions have been made. Per the agreement executed in June, UNLV agreed to buy 1,500 tickets to the event, 500 for each of the 3 games, at a total cost of $202,500. The school can resell the tickets at any price, but is responsible for absorbing any losses. Those ticketing requirements are mirrored in at least one of the other schools' contracts reviewed by Sportico. As the hometown team, UNLV played the first game of the event Monday night against Maryland, losing 74-67 before an announced crowd of 3,000, that's keyword right there, announced crowd of 3,581 that sparsely dotted the 17,000-seat MGM Grand Garden Arena. UNLV's agreement not only locked the Running Rebels into the MTE, but initially gave Players Era the right to, quote, organize and facilitate, end quote, 2 separate regular season matchups at UNLV's home arena, the Thomas and Mack Center, UNLV versus St. Joseph's and St. Joseph's versus Syracuse. However, a St. Joe spokesman said that when former head coach Billy Lange departed the program in September, the school exercised an opt-out with Players Era and independently arranged for games between UNLV and Syracuse. St. Joseph's lost on the road at UNLV last week and is slated to play at Syracuse on December 11th. Attached to the UNLV Collective's agreement as Exhibit B was a draft, one-page release for athletes to sign that grants Players Era and its partners the irrevocable right to use their NIL for the duration of the 25-26 men's basketball season and postseason. Players Era's partners include TNT Sports, which is broadcasting this week's games. The draft release also requires athletes to refrain from using their NIL to promote any other hotels, resorts, casinos, or gaming companies, despite the NCAA already prohibiting athletes from endorsing all gambling entities for a period of 7 days before and after the Players Era Championship. Ooh, boy. UNLV's campus is less than 2 miles away from both venues, so its deal doesn't include the dedicated travel stipend found in other schools' contracts. Rutgers, for example, was given a $50,000 stipend, according to a copy of its participation agreement. While helpful, that sum is typically insufficient to charter a flight for a college basketball team between New Jersey and Las Vegas. Unlike UNLV's contract, Rutgers' agreement with Players Era did not include a, quote, players' participation fee, end quote, indicating that whatever money was directed to the Scarlet Knights flowed through their NIL collective. On Monday, Players Era and the Big 12 Conference announced a quote-unquote landmark agreement in which Big 12 teams would receive 8 automatic bids to future Players Era championship events, beginning next season and going through 2030. However, Players Era already had existing deals in place with 4 Big 12 teams, as I stated earlier, Houston, Kansas, Baylor, and Iowa State, raising the question of how much of this announcement was a marketing play instead of meaningful growth. The deal reportedly includes a 15% equity stake for the Big 12 in the Players Era Championship, though neither side has released specific terms. As ever, the devil is in the contractual details. So, what do you think about that? Does that change your tune? Change how you look at Players Era as an event? Does it make you say, Does it make you say to teams who are not in the Big 12, sorry, you were late to the party. You get what you get. Or you can go somewhere else and be another MTE if you don't want to be in the Players era. Let's discuss that more after this spot from BS3 TV. I'll play it. I am KG Kris Gardner of the Houston Roundball Review. You are watching the Houston Roundball Review Takeover of the Lunch Break, powered by JM&E, streaming live on YouTube, Facebook, and Roku via the BS3 Network. I'll be back in 90 seconds.
BS3 Network, changing the way you watch TV.
Welcome back to today's edition of the Houston Roundball Review Takeover of the Lunch Break, powered by JM&E. I am KG Kris Gardner of the Houston Roundball Review. Thank you for watching. These final few moments. First, let me say again, happy Thanksgiving to you and your friends and family. Hope you're having a good day. Hope you're enjoying it. Hope you're enjoying a good meal and spending time with loved ones. If not, thank you for spending time with me. And I consider you part of the family and vice versa. Space Sage, how are you? I'll say it again. Thank you for chiming in. Thank you very much. And I'm going to put it on the screen before we get back to the Big 12 Players era of conversation. Won't be covering the Rockets. Won't be doing much Let's Talk Houston Rockets unless I get a sponsor. That's just how it is. No sponsor for this year. The talks I had with a person earlier this year fell through, and that would have underwritten the entire Houston Roundball Review Media Group. Second person, same thing. But no sponsors for the LTHR. So unless that changes, I may do a show here and there. But the post-game shows consistently that started at the end of the season that were successful a bit, no sponsor. And not enough revenue generated from those shows, from the viewers. There's only one show that has a sponsor, and that's Let's Rage Coogs. So that's without sponsorship. Other live stream shows may go away, including this one. Back at it, Players era. And I'm gonna have to jump to probably a few slides in this one regarding the Big 12. All right, I got it right there. All right, excellent. On November 24th, Players era and Everwonder Studio Company and the Big 12 Conference announced a first-of-its-kind partnership that will grant the Big 12 an equity stake in the Marquee Players Era Men's Championship Tournament. As part of the landmark partnership, the Big 12, which has established itself as a top conference in men's basketball over the years, and some will quibble with that, especially this year with Big 10 rolling, will see the top 8 teams in the league standing receive automatic bids to the following year's Players Era Men's Championship, starting with the 2026 event and running through 2030. That's good to a point, I guess, if you're one of those top 8 teams. For Players Era, this strategic evolution represents the next phase of expansion as it establishes a new operating framework in college basketball. Players Era and the Big 12 have already established a pipeline of marquee teams competing in the Players Era Men's Championship. Houston competed in last year's inaugural tournament, en route to a Final Four appearance and a national runner-up finish. This year, the Cougs were joined by Kansas, Iowa State, and Baylor in the expanded 18-team field. Why they picked 18 teams rather than 16 or 12? 18. That's such a bad number for an event. But anyway, I digress. Quote, the Big 12 Conference continues to lead collegiate athletics movement into a new landscape, and we are incredibly proud to enter into this partnership. The conference has been instrumental to our growth from day one. The Big 12 now receives guaranteed access to the biggest college basketball event outside of March, and it will benefit perennial powers and teams with national championship aspirations. Over the next 6 years, Players Era will commit no less than $50 million to Big 12 basketball programs in rights fees, said Seth Berger, CEO of Players Era. One more time. Over the next 6 years, Players Era will commit no less than $50 million to Big 12 basketball programs in rights fees. 50 million. Quote from head coach Kelvin Sampson. Players Era is the premier non-conference event in college basketball. It provides elite competition and puts our student athletes on the biggest stage possible before conference play, end quote. Quote from Brett Yormark. The Big 12 Conference is thrilled to grow its partnership with Players Era. The tournament is a tremendous platform to showcase our conference, student athletes, and coaches as the best in college basketball, and we look forward to continuing to make Players Era a national marquee event, end quote. Overall, this year's Players Era Men's Championship includes 13 teams ranked or receiving votes in the AP Top 25 poll and 6 that played in last year's NCAA Sweet 16. The event taking place this week, as we know, it's almost over. Today's the last day as the 4 teams, I think there are 4 teams on the consolation side in the men's games. And the women's teams are playing their championship game today, later on today. This from The Athletic. Seth Berger said next season's 32-team field, the format he anticipates for Players Era for the foreseeable future, will feature 8 4-team pools that compete over the 2 or so weeks leading up to Thanksgiving week, also known as Feast Week. Then the best of each pool will fly to Vegas for an 8-team bracket to crown an eventual champion. That means even the teams that don't qualify for the Las Vegas portion still receive 3 high-quality non-conference games to bolster their NCAA tournament resumes. Under the new format, saying it again, not every team will receive $1 million, according to CBS Sports. That's being clear. So Sportico, not that, kind of had a bone to pick, but that's kind of been known now. Coaches and staffers, The Athletic polled, who have previously participated in Maui and Atlantis, say that with chartered flights, hotels, meals, and other fees, few, if any, of which are covered by event organizers, it can cost a program anywhere from $250,000 to $750,000 to attend. One school, which has participated in both events in years past, said it has cost as much as $1 million to play in those events, given growing travel parties. The goal for any neutral site non-conference game is to come close to a home gate, which ranges anywhere from $500,000 to $1 million on average for top 25 teams, according to the U.S. Department of Education data and multiple program staffers. But depending on a school's brand, and venue and location, it's possible certain neutral site games become more profitable than home games. Teams spend hundreds of thousands of dollars to go play in an event such as the Maui Invitational or the Battle for Atlantis. But in doing so, there's also the opportunity cost of not playing home games or lucrative neutral site deals. Hypothetically, say a school pays $500,000 to go to the Maui Invitational for a week. That isn't its only cost. It's also the additional $1 million it could have earned by playing 2 home games, or the additional $1.5 million it could have earned by playing a standalone neutral site. Makes sense. This from Ben Portnoy with Sports Business Journal. Big 12 to get investment stake in the Players Era Festival. Started with a quote from Brett Yormark. I always think about how do we either create IP, intellectual property, or have a vested interest in IP that we're a part of. It's a different mindset, and if we're going to create value, which we are, we want to share in that value. Taking an equity stake in Players Era affords us the opportunity to do so, end quote. Players Era is in the final year of a 2-year deal with TNT for its broadcast rights. Tournament representatives are in discussions with broadcast partners that include ESPN, Fox, Netflix, and Warner Brothers Discovery, sources told SBJ. The expectation, too, is Players Era would fetch a lengthier deal than its initial agreement with TNT, though conversations remain ongoing. Quote from Ever Wonder Studio CEO Ian Orphis told SBJ, we're a big believer that the people creating the product should be part of the success of that venture. And if you look at traditional rights, media companies and other event organizers would pay rights fees to a conference for their rights, but then they go out and monetize those rights separately. We really believe in a long-term partnership, and you can't do that without both partners feeling like they have a stake in the success of a property, end quote. So that's the reason for Big 12 and Players Era partnering. Kind of makes sense, but what do you think about it? Is it a good deal for the conference? Is it a good deal for Players Era? Again, they got to do something to get more people to attend the games in Vegas. I'm kind of curious with next year's event, when you have the 8-14 pods, who's going to be hosting the games on campus? Because from what I'm understanding, the winners of those pods will advance to Vegas. So where will those games in the group play take place? Will they be held on campus? And if they're on campus, who's going to host them? Will it be will it be 8 of those will be Big 12 teams? Will they be automatic hosts? Will other schools like that? Will other schools be okay with that? Do they have a choice? Who is there any discussion of who's going to be a host? How's it going to work? Just different things that I'm still wondering about, curious about. Will the games continue to be a part of TNT / Warner Brothers? Will it move to ESPN? Will it move to Netflix? Will it move to Amazon? Whoever the hell knows, all that kind of stuff too. How much will the Big 12 get as a 15% stake? CA37. It depends on who you ask. And the method of their answer. Seth Berger said this year is the second year too. On the men's side, they'll turn a profit. How? How? But he said that. He's quoted as saying that. This year 2 of the Players Era Men's Festival, the event will turn a profit. Got to be a great deal from their advertisers Gotta be. Because ticket sales, that ain't it. So the TV partners, the commercial partners, are they covering this and making this event profitable? Have to be. He said it. He said first year the event did not make a profit. But it wasn't a money loser as much as folks thought or assumed. But he said year two, they're going to make a profit. I need money like this in my life. I mean, man, that's what he said. We'll see. But with the agreement, I like the concept of it. I like having men's and women's college basketball games that matter in November. I like seeing the best play the best in November. One of the ideas is to have the Players Era event be like the March Madness equivalent, but at the start of the season. I'm okay with that. The concept makes sense. But you got to do more to get people to come to the games. You got to do more to get students involved, to go to Vegas. All these other things. And you got to make the games in Vegas alive, an atmosphere. Make people involved and hyped to be there. I'm kind of a purist, and watching the games on TV, I focus on the on-court games, but I noticed the vibe in the building. It's kind of bland. So if that's how it comes across on TV, imagine what it's like in the building. And then you got to give ticket packages, give something for the families and the kids to do while the games aren't going on. So different things they have to do to make it better. It's here to stay for at least 5-6 years. They got to improve and got to make things better. And I think they will. We don't have a choice. they have a lot more eyeballs on it, right, on them now. And we'll see how it goes. But salute to them. I want to wrap it up and play with this real quickly. Let me see. Reminder, the Houston Cougars football team will wrap up regular season play this Saturday in Waco against Baylor. Kickoff at 11 o'clock on TNT. Join us, me, Andy, Dayon, on the Let's Rage Coogs postgame show after the football game, presented by the Saxenian family and Houston's Star Pizza. As we discussed, what we assume / hope will be a Cougs win. And then after that, we'll have the Cougs bowl game to discuss. I'm not sure when it's going to take place. December, maybe? Late December? That's probably most likely because last week's loss kind of killed any January game possibilities. When is the Pop-Tart Bowl? Pop-Tart Bowl late December? Something like that? Or maybe the Texas Bowl? Maybe that's late December 27th or so. But anyway, things like that we'll discuss on Let's Rage Cougs. Reminder, for those who aren't yet members, become a member of the Houston Roundball Review YouTube membership section. 2 tiers, the All-League tier for $2.99 per month. The All-World tier for $4.99 per month. I posted a video yesterday. I spoke to Isiah Harwell's dad yesterday morning. And I discussed what we discussed for the video, for the members. You can watch that to get an idea of what Isiah is going through. So become a member, click on that QR code and become a member. Do it for a month. Support the Roundball Review that way. Do it for basketball season. And then don't do it during the summer. That's bad business marketing, but I'm just being real. Some money is better than no money. Also, the Want to Coog shirts now have relatives. Got Want to Coog, Always a Coog sweatshirts, as well as Want to Coog, Always a Coog pants. Hoodies, Roundball Review hoodies, new Roundball Review mugs. It's chilly right now, so you get you a long sleeve shirt, a hoodie, different colors available. Scan that QR code, visit the website, click on the links in the description. Support the Roundball Review that way. If you want to be If you're a business owner and want to be in the business directory, like these wonderful folks, the African Center of Wellbeing, Bayou Beat, Be Elite Basketball, Byron Riley CPA, the Pinto Leon Law Firm, Pruitt's in the Heights, Star Pizza, Tejas Brewery, United Sports and Entertainment, VIP Realty, and the Saxenia family. Email me, advertise at THEHRR.com, advertise at some say the, HRR.com. It's less than $1 a week to be listed in the business directory, but you'll get mentioned on the live stream shows. You'll get mentioned on the Facebook posts, Instagram, TikTok posts. Thousands of people watch the show. Just not that many people support the show financially yet. That will do it on today's edition, this Thanksgiving edition of the Houston Roundball Review Takeover of the Lunch Break. Takeover powered by JM&E. Streaming live on the Houston Roundball Review on YouTube and also on Facebook, but also on Roku. Yes, on Roku via the BS3 Network. Once again, scan that QR code. Support the Houston Roundball Review. Enjoy your Thanksgiving. Enjoy the basketball games here on Thanksgiving. Not that other sport. Be different. Really, be different. Don't be like everybody else and watch that other sport, that oblong ball. Watch hoops. Watch hoops. There's hoops on today. Yes, hoops on today. This evening. Men's and women's hoops. Really, there is. Thank you as always for your time. Thank you for your support. Thank you for your interest. Thank you for your questions. Notice the background. Got different backgrounds now. Andy and I, we got big plans in store for EV Mux platform for next year, for Let's Rage Coogs, for the takeover. But we're also looking for people willing to and able to sponsor the shows to help us go on the road with the Coogs, go on the road with the tournament, go on the road with H-Town teams, not just the Coogs. Rice was in a tournament in Florida. Let me play that real quick. Real quick comments from head coach Rob Lanier after the break.
Well, it was a good win. It's a great way to cap off a week that I thought was a week of tremendous growth for our team. I thought throughout the week we played together. We played tough, hard-nosed defense. We didn't close out the first two games, and I thought we did a great job finishing this game, and our defense really stepped up in the second half for sure. We got contributions from everybody that entered the game.
That's Rice Owls men's coach Rob Lanier, courtesy of Rice Athletics. Roundball Review is one of the few Houston media that spends time discussing Rice hoops, men's and women's basketball. If you're Rice alum, support me for that. You can't say, you don't talk about Rice. Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Last week home games, I was the only media there for postgame. Only. Period. Only. Men's and women's basketball. You hear the voice asking questions in post games, it's mine. Period. Kris Gardner, Houston Roundball Review. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. See you Saturday following Let's Rage Cougs, watching Let's Rage Cougs after the Cougs beat Baylor. Since 1994, the Houston Roundball Review. Local name, global perspective. Take care. Peace.